Now that we understand her story, we see why Cleopatra was seen as an ideal of the perfect woman, not just for her appearance, but for a combination of characteristics that transcend the concept of physical beauty. This perception was built over the centuries based on several aspects. 1 degree, intelligence and culture. Cleopatra was extremely intelligent and well-educated, mastering several languages, including Egyptian, Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Latin. Additionally, she was versed in philosophy, mathematics, politics, and the arts, making her a ruler skilled in various fields. 2 degrees political and strategic skill. Cleopatra was a shrewd political leader. She used her diplomacy to keep Egypt independent, establishing strategic alliances and diplomatic relations with powerful Roman figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Her alliances were not based solely on romance, but on a clear vision for her kingdom's future and her ability to negotiate power. 3D charisma and persuasion. Historical accounts highlight that Cleopatra possessed irresistible charisma and captivating oratory skills. Plutarch, one of the most well-known biographers of the time, emphasized that her charm was not limited to physical beauty, but lay in her captivating presence and voice, and her ability to engage people in intelligent and fascinating conversations. 4 degrees, beauty and personal care. Though there are doubts about her physical beauty, Cleopatra cultivated an image that transcended appearances. She was known for taking care of herself and using refined perfumes, oils, and cosmetics, as well as being a fan of milk and honey baths, which became part of her legend. This carefully crafted image fed the ideal of feminine beauty and represented a queen who combined refinement with power. 5 degrees, seduction and romantic love. Cleopatra is marked as a seductive figure due to her strategic relationships with 2 of the most powerful men of her time, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. These relationships were seen as examples of her ability to captivate powerful men, with her being depicted in various literary and artistic works as an enchanting and passionate woman. 6 degrees power and female leadership. Beyond her appearance and intellectual abilities, Cleopatra embodied the archetype of a woman who knew how to wield power. She was the last great ruler of Egypt and stood out in a time when female rule was rarely seen. Her ability to command, make strategic decisions, and her direct involvement in battles, such as the Battle of Actium, symbolized an ideal of female strength and authority. 7 degrees, courage and determination. Cleopatra's willingness to fight for her kingdom and her people, as well as her decision to take her own life to avoid public humiliation, showed her indomitable spirit. Rather than passively accepting her fate, she took control of her own story, contributing to her image as a tragic heroine and resolute woman. Cleopatra's ideal as the perfect woman was based not only on her beauty, but on a combination of intelligence, charisma, power, sensuality, and political skills. Throughout history, she has been portrayed as a multidimensional female figure, able to embody qualities considered attractive, strategic, and admirable, making her an icon of femininity and leadership. Now let's delve deeper into the effects of Cleopatra's archetype on our lives. The Cleopatra archetype is characterized by a powerful combination of qualities, such as intelligence, seduction, leadership, ambition, and political acumen. It represents a model of feminine power centered on charisma, sensuality, and strategic ability to gain and maintain positions of influence. Let's explore each aspect of this archetype in more detail. Mungri, the seductive and charismatic woman. The Cleopatra archetype is often associated with charm and seduction. However, the power of seduction here is not purely physical. It involves a combination of intelligence, persuasion, and self-confidence. Cleopatra knew how to use her charisma to establish connections and alliances, not only for personal gain, but to ensure her kingdom's future. This archetype evokes the idea of a woman who is aware of her influence on others, capable of using her presence and eloquence to attract and persuade. Tugadigri, the ambitious and visionary leader. Cleopatra was a strategic queen with a clear vision for her kingdom's future. She didn't just react to situations, but acted proactively, anticipating crises and paving paths to maintain her power. The Cleopatra archetype reflects a woman who understands power and uses it to shape her destiny. She represents the ideal of someone willing to fight to maintain and expand her influence, both in personal aspects and within the larger context of her community or domain. 3 degrees, the wise and cultivated one. This archetype is also marked by profound curiosity and intellect. Cleopatra was cultured, mastered several languages, and had broad knowledge in politics, philosophy, and the arts. She embodies a female figure who understands the value of knowledge as a tool of power. In the Cleopatra archetype, knowledge is a resource for seduction and leadership, making her figure not only a leader, but also a wise advisor and strategist. 4 degrees, the strategic warrior. Cleopatra did not hesitate to participate actively in moments of conflict and war. She was directly involved in political and military campaigns, demonstrating courage and determination. This aspect of the archetype is of a woman unafraid to place herself in challenging situations, fighting not only with physical skills, but with cunning and strategy. She understands the battlefield, but stands out mainly for her planning and tactics. 5 degrees. The goddess and Queen Cleopatra also adopted the iconography of a goddess, seeking to legitimize her power by being seen as the incarnation of Isis, one of the main goddesses in the Egyptian pantheon. This aspect of the archetype is associated with the notion of someone who rises above ordinary circumstances, aiming to represent something greater than herself. This gives the archetype an aura of mystery, divinity, and a sense of higher purpose. 6 degrees. The autonomous and self-sufficient woman. Cleopatra symbolizes a woman who rules her own destiny without needing anyone to validate her power or actions. Even in her alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, her independence and focus remained clear. She used these partnerships to strengthen her position and achieve her goals. Thus, she is the archetype of a woman who creates her own opportunities and establishes her own path. 7 degrees, the tragic and bold. Lastly, Cleopatra's archetype also embodies a tragic figure. She chose death over being humiliated and turned into a trophy by Octavian, preserving her dignity and power even in defeat. This evokes the concept of a woman who, even in adversity, maintains her dignity and honor, owning her fate until the end. This aspect symbolizes a deep inner strength and a refusal to be subjugated. Activating the Cleopatra archetype. People who seek to activate the Cleopatra archetype in their lives are looking to integrate leadership, intelligence, and personal magnetism. This archetype inspires self-confidence, the courage to take risks, and a strategic vision in everything one does. Cleopatra serves as a model for those wishing to develop their charisma, persuasive abilities, emotional intelligence, and sense of power, enabling them to shape their own destiny. Practices to activate the Cleopatra archetype. Improve your communication and persuasion. Develop speaking and oratory skills to express yourself clearly, engagingly, and convincingly. Expand your knowledge. Be curious and seek to learn about various subjects, especially those that impact your choices and life strategies. Take care of your presence. Like Cleopatra, cultivate a sense of presence by investing in practices that boost your self-confidence and self-care. Be strategic. Think ahead, setting goals and plans to reach where you want to be with the insight and vision of a leader. The Cleopatra archetype is a powerful representation of a woman who combines charisma, intelligence, and leadership with a sense of self-sufficiency and courage. It evokes a feminine force that is both seductive and strategic, inspiring those who seek to live with passion, power, and dignity. The dark sides of the Cleopatra archetype. While the Cleopatra archetype is filled with positive qualities like charisma, intelligence, and leadership, it also has shadow sides that can emerge when its characteristics are lived in an imbalanced or distorted way. These shadow sides represent aspects that can become harmful to both the person and their relationships and surroundings. Let's explore these aspects. One of the most evident dark sides of the Cleopatra archetype is the tendency toward manipulation to achieve personal or strategic goals. When charisma and seduction are used selfishly, there is a risk of manipulating situations and people for one's own benefit. Cleopatra can become a figure who uses her intelligence and persuasion to influence others without considering the emotional or ethical impacts of her actions. The pursuit of power can become an obsession, leading one to act ruthlessly to protect their domain or status. In this dark side, Cleopatra's figure may prioritize control at any cost, becoming cold and calculating in her actions, potentially sacrificing relationships, values, or even her own peace of mind in the name of maintaining authority. Cleopatra is known for crafting her image as a magnetic and powerful figure. However, the dark side of this aspect may manifest as an obsession with her own image, leading to narcissistic behaviors. One may become overly concerned with how they are perceived, constantly seeking validation and recognition from others. This heightened vanity can harm authenticity and lead to the loss of genuine connections. Another dark side is the risk of using relationships as a means to gain or maintain power. Cleopatra was famous for her strategic romantic alliances, but in the shadow aspect, this could translate into a tendency to form connections based on interests and utility. In this case, relationships may be seen as tools for achieving power or influence, rather than authentic and enriching partnerships. How to deal with the dark side. To deal with the dark sides of the Cleopatra archetype, it's essential to cultivate self-awareness and practice self-observation to identify when these aspects are dominating one's attitudes and decisions. Balancing the use of charisma and strategy with authenticity and ethics is crucial. Some practices include cultivating empathy and authenticity in relationships, avoiding using others as tools of power, reflecting on one's desire for power and recognizing when it leads to manipulative or self-destructive behaviors, seeking an authentic image rather than basing one's worth solely on appearances or external validation, accepting and expressing vulnerabilities, allowing oneself to trust others without fear of losing control. The shadow sides of the Cleopatra archetype reflect the fine line between using personal power constructively or in a selfish and destructive way. Recognizing these shadow aspects is essential to avoid falling into traps of manipulation, vanity, obsession with control, and self-sabotage. Cleopatra's archetype teaches that true power lies not only in the ability to command, but also in the courage to lead with authenticity, empathy, and balance. For those who enjoy archetypes and want to learn more, discover the power of gods in your daily life with the ebook, Archetypes of the Goddesses. Learn to practically apply divine energies to transform your life. This practical guide explores how the qualities of gods can inspire and empower your daily actions. Ideal for those seeking spiritual connection and personal growth, Archetypes of the Goddesses is your map to integrating ancient wisdom into your day-to-day. Soon, we will also have the ebook, Archetypes of the Gods. Get your copy now, support the channel's growth, and awaken your divine potential. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. People who incorporate the power of archetypes in their lives experience significant changes, such as improvements at work, financial gain, and better relationships, among other benefits. How to activate this archetype in your life? There are several ways to do this. You can use wallpapers on your phone and computer, for instance, to have a direct visual reminder of this archetype, embedding it in your conscious and subconscious mind. You can also use clothing and items that evoke this archetype and bring you closer to it. Or, my recommended approach is listening to activation videos of this archetype, a practice widely used in biokinesis. I've provided a link in the description and pinned card for the immediate activation video of Queen Cleopatra. Listen daily or for as long as you feel is necessary. Also, try affirmations like, I activate Cleopatra's archetype in my life, or I am a strategic and beautiful queen, just like Cleopatra. Do this and witness the immediate results in your life. Leave a comment sharing your experiences activating the Cleopatra archetype. Also, tell me which other archetypes you'd like to see featured on the channel. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it greatly helps us. Check out our special playlists on archetypes, and see you next time.